which is the end of Perek Mabez. We're talking about a person being me'eded yira. And the issue we spoke about until now is the idea that Hashem knows what's happening and He cares. There's another thing that Alter Rebbe now proposes as a mechanism for establishing strong yira. And that is that not only does the Eibishter know what's going on, everything is managed via gili of the Eibishter. Everything we see around us is actually managed only a garment for Elikus. There's like a physical king. The primary fear is from his pnimius, from innermost points, and his vitality, not his physical body. When a king is asleep, no one's afraid of him. Now, the inner dimension of a king ain't you can't see it with your physical eyes. You have a mind, and because of what you see physically, you understand intellectually that there's life here, that there's will here, that there's power here. Since the physical eyes are able to see the of his body and his garments, and how he operates, and how he functions, and what he does, that he knows that his life is inside of him. So if that's the case, the same is true. You should be afraid of the Eibishter. Not only because of the first reason, which is that Hashem knows what's happening, but for a different reason. What is that? When you see with your physical eyes, heaven, earth, and all of the hosts, what are you looking at? What is this table? The truth of this table, the truth of Shemayim, the truth of Aretz, and the truth of Sol Tzvam is the Eidin Sof which gives them life. And therefore, the reason you should have Yiras Shemayim, because everything you're looking at is simply a right that is an Eibishter. Any physical thing you see is not Ma'alim Master Nelakus. Hey, this is the Eibishter in a tzir of Levush. Even though Kvayachal Alakus is garmented in many, many layers, because it's physical things, and physical things don't show any ruchnias. That's true, but it doesn't make a difference. There is no separation and difference whatsoever. When you're afraid of a physical king, where he has no clothes at all, he's wearing one outfit, even if he's wearing many outfits, you know that the king is inside, so you have derech eretz. Says the Rebbe, the same is true by the Eibishter. A person could develop yira when he realizes the truth of the world around him is Elikus. Every physical thing is managed by Levush for the Eibishter. But in order to succeed in this second inyan, it's negeya hahergel, the habit. To acclimate one's mind and one's thought constantly. Should be fixed in his heart, and in his mind, tamid all the time. Everything he sees, with his eyes. The heaven and the earth. And everything that fills it. Hakel, all of it. Are simply peripheral garments. And when you realize that the physical world is simply garments of the Eibishter, Yiskir Tamid, you'll remember always the inner dimension of what they are, and the lebedik dimension of what they are, and this is the Eibishter. How do you develop Yiras Shamayim? Because wherever you look, you're seeing the Eibishter. But the Rebbe says this second is abundance requires hergel. You have to get yourself used to the idea that everything is Elikus. This need to perpetually acclimate yourself, to get yourself constantly used to. This idea is included in the idea of Amunah, because Amunah is Shulachan Regilus. Amunah means to acclimate yourself, to get yourself used to. A person gets himself used to, like a craftsman who expertly uses his hands to do his work. A Yid has to be ma'amen, his focus on the Eibishter, so the Eibishter should become real. This is a second his bonus that's made of Yira. Yesterday and the day before, this bonus was made of Yira, was Bechen Klayas Valev. And now we're saying a new inyan. Walk made of Yira Shemayim when you realize that everything is the Eibishter. Hagoah. And this is already a third inyan. Okay, and this third inyan, the Rebbe says like this, in the Rebbe's Biyurim, and this footnote he says, that the purpose of this footnote is like this. Listen. The Rebbe says, look at the world, and see bittul to the Eibishter. He says, it's very hard to look at the world, see bittul to the Eibishter. You know why? Because you don't know what the Eibishter is. If you meet a king, you're not respecting his guf, you're respecting his neshama. But if you don't know what a king is, how can you have yid of a melech if you have no concept of what a melech is? Take a peasant, bring him to the president. He can't possibly have enough terech. Not because he doesn't mean to. He has no chush in what it means, a position like this. So the Alter Rebbe says that yid is going to think about the greatness of the Eibishter. So first of all, he's going to think that the Eibishter knows what he's doing. Second, everything's the Eibishter. But how can you have chush in the Eibishter? If you have no chush in the Eibishter, how can you have yid for something that you don't know what it is? So the Rebbe says, you see with your physical eyes a bittel and a yira of some nevraim to the Eibishter. Sheheim, and what is that? That the heavens, b'teilim le'ediyis barach, are nullified to the light of the Eibishter. B'ishtacha v'osam kol yoyim, when they bow every day. Klapi maidev every day, b'shkiyosam, when they go down. K'mayim and Azal says in the Gemara, al pasuk on the pasuk, the hosts of heaven all bow to the Eibishter. What does it mean? They bow to the Eibishter. Steht in Chazal, shashchina b'maidev. The Shechina is in the west. And v'nimtza, kilucham kol yom kol maidev. And therefore, the idea that they're constantly moving westward, hu derech hashtachah vo bittul. It's an act of bowing and bittul to the Eibishter. He says, not only do you look at physical things, and the physical things remind you everything is the Eibishter, but some of the physical things are actually demonstrating a bittul for the Eibishter. You see in the heavens, hishtachavo klapi maidev. And of course, you know what the Rambam says, that the stars and planets are actually going to the east, not to the west. But the Galgal HaChezed, the Galgal HaChi, forces them to go to the west, heipach tivam, and the Rebbe says this is because of the bittul to the Eibishter. Says Rebbe V'hinei. And the avoided relevance of this is as follows. He never met a king. You don't recognize him. And therefore, even if you would meet the king, what does it help? Someone tells you, look, the king is inside of that levush. Says the Rebbe, nevertheless, he goes into the courtyard of the king. Many and honorable officers, all bowing down to one man. People, all of them, is going to be full of fear, awe and fear from this man, even though until that point he didn't have a chush. That's what the Rebbe is saying now. There's a third Indian in the hisbodinus of Yiddah. First of all, you're mizbeinin, that the Eibishter knows what's happening in this world, and he cares. Second of all, mizbeinin, the pnimis, everything is the Eibishter. Third of all, you see the Yiddah of Tzva Shamayim to the Eibishter. And therefore, even though you never met the Eibishter, you could learn from them that you have to have Yiddah for the Eibishter as well. So this Hagah, it's a pshat in the second hisbodinus, and it's also a third hisbodinus. The pshat in the second hisbodinus is how, so if everything is Eibishter, so, but I don't know what the Eibishter is. It's a teretz, but you see mishtacham. You see the Tzva Shemaim bowing to the Eibishter. So even though you don't know what the Eibishter is, their bittul gives you an idea of what the Eibishter is. And it gives you a bittul. This is a third point. And now we go back to the Pnim, V'gam. This is already a fourth point of Ayim Eider Yiddah, and that's as follows. The Yossi that should be the Zikaron in the memory of a person talking all the time. Lashon Chazal, the expression of the Chazal, Kabbalah Seil Malchus Shemaim. You should accept the yoke of the kingdom of heaven. Shuk Inyan, which is the idea of same Tassim Alech HaMelech, making the Eibishter your Melech. As we discussed, Makamacha means Perek Mamalav. And this is not just stop thinking about Hashem is in developing fear. You have to make yourself his Eved. In other words, it's not just, you think about the Bavusta Sipur, a buffalo charging down the hill, you're going to be afraid. This is not only about thinking about the Eibush in a way which makes you afraid. You have to make yourself his slave. You have to be machniya yourself to him in your mind. And you have to know, the Eibush abandons the heavens and the earth. And he appoints his malchus upon us. We receive it from him. Which is why we bow down in Shemini Esrei. That this bowing is not simply a matter of thinking about Hashem and therefore developing Yirah, but it's proactively making ourselves his knecht. And when do we do it? In Shema we accept the Eibishter's yoke. And now it's not just he's our king, we're his subjects. And the Yirah's Shemaim is greatly enhanced. When we're not just thinking about him, so that thinking about him gives us Yirah, but when we think about us and we're his slaves, it for sure helps giving us Yirah. Lachse, to repeat, or the Kabbalah, and to accept it, in actual fact, the Maisa v'chuli, the Malchus, the Eibishter, K'mashkasa. So if you want to split it, you have four hisbodinus of Yirah. Number one, the Eibishter knows what's happening. Number two, the world is simply a lavush for lakus. Number three, we see the bittul of the Tzva Shamayim to the Eibishter, which will be made by us a bittul. And number four, same Tasmalach HaMelech, you have to make yourself his subject.